welcome to math class. We're on math lesson 64. This is from your pages 127 to 128. We're talking about division with a remainder. So any division problem is finished when no digits are left in the dividend to bring down. Remember, this is the dividend. So when there are no more numbers to bring down, you've divided into all of them, then your problem is done. Sometimes there will be a number left over. Every problem that we've done so far, we've always been done when we got to 0. But sometimes you won't get to a 0. You'll have a number left over. And we call this number that's left over the remainder. So let's look at what that looks like after we say our 5 steps for division. Ready? Divide, multiply, subtract, compare, bring down. One more time. Divide, multiply, subtract, compare, bring down. Excellent work. Okay, so we're going to start with the example that's in the red box at the top of your page. It has 57 divided by 5. Well, we always start with the first number. Do I have any groups of 5 in 5? Yes, how many groups of 5 are in the number 5? 1, that's right. So 5 divided by 5 is 1. My next step is to multiply. 1 times 5 is 5. My next step is to subtract. 5 minus 5 is 0. Then we compare. Is 0 less than 5? Yes, it is. So I can bring down my next number. And my steps start over again. I divide. 7 divided by 5 is? Well, how many groups of 5 are in 7? Here's 7. How many 5s do you see? Here's one group of 5. Do I have more than one group of 5? One group. What's left? Nope. I only have one group of 5. So 7 divided by 5 is 1, because there's only one group of 5 in the number 7. Then we multiply. 1 times 5 is 5. Then we subtract. 7 minus 5 is 2. 2 is less than 5. Do I have anything to bring down? No, I'm done. That's it. So this 2 that's left over is called my remainder. And I write it up here at the top next to my answer by writing R for remainder, and then my number, which this time is 2. So 57 divided by 5 is 11 with a remainder of 2. All right, let's do some of the exercises. Start with number 1. It says use the division steps, watch for remainders. Let's do letter A together. So you need to write down your steps for division as you go. So the very first step I know is to divide. So I'm going to write that down. I'm going to divide. I'm going to divide 2 by 2. What's 2 divided by 2? 1. Excellent. Our next step, whoops, didn't show up very well. There we go. Our next step is to multiply. So now I'm going to multiply. 1 times 2 is 2. Step 3 is to subtract. 2 minus 2 is 0. My fourth step is to compare. Is 0 less than 2? Yes, it is. So I can move on to the last step, which is to bring down. So I'm going to bring down my 5, keeping it as straight as possible. 5 divided by 2 is what? Well, here's 5. Let's separate it into groups of 2. Here's one group of 2. Here's another group of 2. Any more groups of 2? Nope, just one left over. So there's 2 groups of 2 in 5. So 5 divided by 2 is 2, because there are 2 groups of 2 in 5. Now that we've multiplied, our next step is to or now that we divided, our next step is to multiply. 2 times 2 is 4. Step 3 is to subtract. 5 minus 4 is 1. My last step is to compare. Is 1 less than 2? Yes, it is. So that's my remainder. I'm done with my problem because I have no more numbers to bring down. So it is 12, remainder 1. All right, let's try letter B. Now, I'm not going to be writing down the steps, but you do have to write down the steps. So if you send me a picture of your paper and I don't see the steps written down there, I'm going to send the picture back and say, oh, try this again. So make sure that you follow all of the directions. Okay, 38 divided by 3. Our first step to division is divide. 3 divided by 3 is 1. Excellent. My next step is to multiply. 1 times 3 is 3. My next step is to subtract. 3 minus 3 is 0. My next step is to compare. Is 0 less than 3? Yes, it is, so I can bring down my 8. 8 divided by 3. How many groups of 3 are in 8? Well, 2 groups of 3 is 6. Okay, that's less than 8, so we're still good. 3 groups of 3 is 9. Ooh, 9 is bigger than 8. We can't subtract 9 from 8, so 3 will not work. It has to be 2. 2 is the closest we can get to 8 without going over. So 2 times 3 is 6. Next we subtract. 8 minus 6 is 2. Is 2 less than 3? Yes, it is. So our remainder is 2. Your remainder always has to be smaller than your divisor. If your remainder is bigger, then that's, ooh, big fat clue we did something wrong. All right, and our last problem, 47 divided by 4. Let's start with 4 divided by 4 is 1. Very good. Now we multiply. 1 times 4 is 4. What's our next step? Subtract. Four minus 4 is 0. Compare 0 to 4. What do you get? Well, is it less? Yes, it's less. Okay, so now I can bring down. So now I have 7 divided by 4. What is 7 divided by 4? How many groups of 4 are in 7? Well, if I say 1, 1 times 4 is 4. That's less than 7. But if I say 2, 2 times 4 is 8. 8's bigger than 7, so 2 won't work. It has to be 1. Only one group of 4 in 7. 1 times 4 is 4. Next step is to subtract. 7 minus 4 is 3. Is 3 less than 7? Yes, it is. So I have a remainder of 3. Don't forget to write your remainder up here at the top. Don't leave it down at the bottom. You have to write it at the top too. Very important step. If I don't see that, again, I'm going to circle it and send it back and say try that again. All right, number 2 on page 127 just says follow the signs, add, subtract, and multiply. Number 3 is to solve the story problems. So let's talk through these really quickly. Brielle and her parents are planting a garden. They have 2 rows of carrots, 5 rows of corn, and 1 row of lettuce. How many rows of vegetables have they planted all together? So what facts do we know? We know we have 2 rows of carrots, 5 rows of corn, and 1 row of lettuce. What do we want to know? How many all together? What's our clue word? All together. And what does that clue word mean to do? Add. So in the workspace, you need to add 2 plus 5 plus 1 and tell me how many rows. So you need to write how many rows. That's your word to write with it, rows. Letter B. Levi counted the strawberries growing on his strawberry plants. One plant had 12 berries, a second plant had 10 berries, and the third plant had 15 berries. How many berries did Levi find? So we have 10 berries, 12 berries, and 15 berries. I want to know how many he found. So this is a total that we're looking for. What are we doing when we want the total of something? We add. So you need to add up in the workspace 12 plus 10 plus 15 and tell me how many berries. All right, number 4 says write the numbers your teacher says. I'm going to read these numbers 2 times. If you need to rewind the video and pause it, you may. Letter A, 371,285. 371,285. B, 500,200. 500,200. Letter C, 1,001. Excuse me, sorry, I had a yawn. Letter C, 1,001. Letter D, 72,604. 72,604. Okay, number 5, we need to set the clocks. So be careful, remember to count if it's not by 5s, if you have to count by 1s to count the little spots in between. You'll have to do that for the first one, 247. Count by 5s until you get to 45, then count by 1s. But for 5:55, you can count by 5s when you count the minutes. Remember, big hand, minute hand, small hand, hour hand. Number 6, number in order from smallest to largest. So you have gallons, pints, quarts, and cups. Of those 4, which one is the smallest? Is it gallons? Nah. Pints? Maybe that's smaller than gallons. Quarts? No, those are bigger than pints. Cups? There have to be 2 cups in 1 pint, so that means cups are smaller to fit inside the pint. So cups is number 1. Then we have gallons, pints, and quarts left. Gallons, no, those are big. Pints, those are small. Quarts, well, those are bigger than pints, so that means number 2 would be pints. And you can do number 3 and 4 on your own. Number 7 says find the area, so you just need to count the squares and tell me how many square units. All right, that's it for our lesson today. Have a wonderful day, guys. Love you very much. Let me know if you have any questions. Bye.